Hello. For quiz 3, I gave you some problems to review, so I'm going to go over them. You can skip through this video as much as you want. You don't have to watch this video, but I would recommend it. You don't have to do the problems, but I would also recommend that. So I'm going to go through each one. Don't feel like you need to watch this video in its entirety, though. Skip to the parts that you need. Same thing with the problems. Focus on the ones that you need to do in order to do well in this quiz. So for the very first one, I've got g of x, and it's equal to this function, and the very first question it asks is, what's the slope of the tangent line? Slope of the tangent line, I know, is, well, I'm thinking slope of the tangent line. I hope you're thinking derivative. So this is my derivative, g prime of x. That's another way I can call it. So it's the derivative of g prime of x, the slope of the tangent, all of those things. And this is saying at x equals 1. So specifically, I need to find g prime of 1. So I'm going to rewrite g of x. And it was negative 3x plus 1. I'm going to rewrite this denominator as x to the 1/2 power. Anytime you have a square root, it would be to the 1/2. If it was the cubed root, it would be to the 1/3 power, 4th root to the 1/4. And then the next thing I'm going to do is rewrite this fraction because I need it to look kind of like a polynomial, even though this one will never be a polynomial because it doesn't have integer exponents, but, or whole number exponents, I should say. So in this one, though, I've got negative 3x over x to the 1/2. I can rewrite this as a number, so 3x. And then if I have an exponent of 1, this is 1/2. Just like how we can say x squared over x is just x squared over x is just x. What I am doing here, I can actually write it out, and I can show you that I eliminate an x because they cancel each other out. But over here, x squared over x, I can subtract 2 minus 1 and get x. Okay, so same idea over here is going to be negative 3x. This is an exponent of 1, 1/2, but they have the same base, so I can just subtract. And here, I'm going to rewrite this as plus x to the negative 1/2, since the 1/2 is in the denominator. And I notice that I'm labeling g of x. So once I get to this point, I'm like, okay, now I can take g prime of x, which would be 1/2 times negative 3, negative 3/2, x, negative 1/2, or I'm sorry, positive 1/2 minus 1 would be negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times coefficient of 1 would be negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 minus 1 would be negative 1/2 minus minus 2 over 2, which is negative 3 over 2. And then I don't just want to stop there and substitute 1. I want to actually simplify this a little so that when I'm substituting, I don't make an easy mistake. So I'm going to rewrite this as x to the 1/2. Over here, I'm going to rewrite it as minus 1 over 2 x to the 3/2. Now I've got it in a form where I could substitute, and you might want to do a little bit more. You might want to rewrite this one as the square root of x in the denominator, or this one as x to the 3rd power, and then the square root of x to the 3rd. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute g prime of 1, because that's my slope of my tangent line. And I'm going to get, I should have given myself more room, but negative 3 over 2 times 1 to the 1/2 power minus 1 over 2 to the 1 to the 3/2 power. What this exponent means is I'm going to take the square root of 1. Square root of 1